Syngenta, we are very rich in ladies. So it means that we are complied by the Constitution. I think first, before I introduce the team from Syngenta, I just want to recognize a few people who are in our midst, and I think it is very important that we know them. First, I will start with the representative from FPIC. Are you the crowd, please? FPIC?
I think yesterday we got the shock about, at least for me, that whether you are married, whether you are married or not married, if you make a promise, either the lady promises me that she will, marry me and she doesn't, whether I'm married or not, I can sue her if she doesn't stick to that. So it's not only the single people affected. Even those who are married, don't promise a lady that you'll buy her flowers and you don't. So here at Syngenta, we want to tell a story of a different kind. About what Syngenta is, what is the ambition of Syngenta to partner, to support life, really. So, what is Syngenta's purpose in the world? What is Syngenta's purpose in Kenya? What is Syngenta's purpose in partnering with you as growers, with you as distributors, and with those who are not growers but love the flowers that we are grown by growers? For Syngenta, the clear purpose is bringing plant potential to life. So you will find any literature you read, whether it's in the website, there is that statement you always get: bring plant potential to life. This is a purpose that is heavily and clearly embedded in Syngenta culture. All our people, those people of Syngenta you see, have that. And what does it mean? We know that we are living in a very complex world. Every day it's changing. And we know as growers, everything is getting more complex. Just an example, we look at it in terms of all the parameters, some of the parameters that are critical and make decisions difficult for you and for us. So one of the areas we look at is the value chain. Now we've talked of value chain in many ways. For instance, Esther there, she's the person who makes sure that our products arrive. But challenges come in, she orders and we are given the time frame that the products will come in certain time. But because of either the shipping logistics is not enough, in good time, we are late. Value chain also comes in as growers yourselves. You want to ensure that your flowers, and this one Victor will later on tell you, that the flowers you grow, they are beautiful, but they can stay longer shelf life. That's also dictated by that value chain process comes into play. The growers, the consumers, the retailers at that end are dictating those kind of questions and what to be done. Comes in the government and regulatory services. For us to be able to offer a product to the market, for the license to operate, we have to work closely with the government. We have to understand what does the government want, because the government's role is to protect the environment, to protect you, and to ensure that you also live and make money, sustainable money. So that's a role that Syngenta we have to understand. The input costs. Every day we go out and the growers are saying, look, your cost of products are high. So you are challenged in terms of what products do you use to ensure you get maximum profit? Because at the end of the day, you're an investor. And as an investor, you want to make money. So Syngenta has to understand where can they partner? What solutions can they give to you as growers or to our partners as distributors? Because you want to make money. So our biggest challenge also is to really understand this complex world we are living in, you are living in. How do we make it make sense to you? The environmental pressures become always an issue. Kenya now, the last few years, you've heard about NEMA. You know NEMA. Before you start even doing a construction, they are telling you, you have to get a license. Before I start selling my product, I have to go to the Pest Control Products Board and give my risk assessment for my products. Today, after 5 years when it is used, for the consumers, what happens? So it's clear an area that even for us is dear to our heart.
And the other one is the flower segment. That's where we are at. I mean, the flowers in the lawn and garden have also crop protection people and genetics people. And we breed young plants, mainly bedding plants. Here in Kenya we have 2 production sites, Kenya cotton and pollen, where we produce young plants for plants who are planted in the garden in Western Europe. So we have genetic knowledge, breeding, growing plants, and we have the controls. That's where I'm responsible for crop protection part. So in principle, we can work on many ornamental crops. There are so many different ornamental crops. We have them segmented. We have called nursery plants as a segment. We have bulbs as a segment, cut flowers as a segment, and pot and bedding plants as a segment. And if you want to be in all the varieties, all these segments active, then we can dilute forever and we never reach anything. So we had to have a kind of simple approach. And as Walter also said, we decided we have to turn, in fact, our view around. As Syngenta, so far we deliver nice products. New plants, new crop protection products. But ultimately we have to think like a consumer. We produce these plants and cut flowers not for nothing, it's for the consumer who buys it somewhere. And then, if we have our bedding plants, we analyze in fact the consumer segments. And certain consumers have certain wishes, certain needs. And if you take that angle, you look back, okay, what things should be produced in the chain? What varieties should be then developed? Is a different one is that you just keep breeding for the next red rose. Because maybe that's not even wanted at the end by the consumer. So we said we have to think like a customer. The customer is coming from a consumer, a retailer, back to ultimately a transport company even, a grower, and then to breeding. And if we don't do it right, we keep on breeding many nice varieties who will never be big, because they don't fit a real need at the consumer end. So we said, okay, we focus on think like a consumer, like a customer in the whole value chain. What we need is not to have everything in-house. Also Walter said already, we can partner up. We can't own everything as Syngenta. But if we want to create the best crop program, the best plants who can go down transport up to the consumer level, we need to partner up with players who can deliver us elements who bring then the superb plant at the end to the consumer in the world. So what do we need? It's just an optimal, sustainable portfolio. We don't need to have everything. Focus on value creation, and we will come back later also in slides, but value creation is really important. We are not producing plants for just fun. No, we live for that. We as Syngenta, you as grower, as well as distributors. So how can we create value? Well, one of the aspects we found when we analyzed the chain of plants and cut flowers up to consumers, there's a huge loss in the chain. So you try to produce the best cut flowers of the world. And at the end of the day, at least 10% of all the production is going to be lost before it reaches the consumer. That's a huge amount of money. I won't mention the figure, but we talk about more than $1 billion, which is lost between the grower and the consumer. So if we would take these losses a bit away by solutions, creating better crop solutions who can be better transported up to the consumer level, I think we can add a lot of margin into the value chain.
In principle, a biostimulant is not a crop protection product. Hicure does not cure diseases or control diseases or pests and do not cure plants. Hicure is also not a fertilizer. But biostimulants are complementary to crop protection and fertilizers. And in principle, a biostimulant is a product that influence or stimulates metabolic processes in plants with the goal to improve yield, quality and performance of plants and products. And as Jan already mentioned, the market is ready for this kind of products. There are a few drivers, a few trends which we see in the market, why the product fits into our market. As Jan already said, the demand of retailers, more sustainable production, less residues in the end product. That are all kinds of things that are pushing at the moment our business. And the margins are under pressure. So we have to increase the production per square meter per hectare in the coming years. The 10 or 20% loss we could have in the past will be now the profit, or in future will be the profit of a grower. So less losses are accepted. And the third part is quality. And quality is also related with transport. The longer the transport times will be, the more difficult it will be to deliver the right quality at the right time. Now back on Hicure. Why should you use Hicure? Two main points. Hicure can increase yields and it can improve quality of flowers. And today we will mainly focus on roses, but you will also see some sidestep to other crops. But the main things are increase yield by shortening flush periods, more stems per hectare, that kind of things, and improve quality because of Hicure can deliver you bigger bud sizes, for example. How can you apply the product? Hicure is a liquid, you will see later on, and it can be applied by foliar. So you can combine it with your sprays, but it also can be applied as a soil drench. So it's very easy to use. When should you apply? Now, as said, it doesn't control any disease of pest. So you have to apply the Hicure during critical physiological phases, like forming new shoots or germination of seeds. That kind of periods, there is the period there where Hicure can add value. But also under stress or suboptimal conditions. In Europe we have a lot of frost. Now I don't think you have that problem very much over here. But also stress because of drought or heat. That kind of periods, that is where a Hicure can help you with growing your crops.
Ladies and gentlemen, presenting Hicure. Wapi makofi! Now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to hear the prizes.